Attention, you are entering the zone controlled by the enemy.
Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, and yes, we're looking at the J8M again, and I know I said, hey, it's going to take me a while to get used to it, but I think I may have finally cracked the nut on this aircraft, and this battle kind of emphasizes where I think we're going to see a departure from my traditional line of thinking, and the bottom line is this aircraft has to slow down. Which is totally counterintuitive, right? This is a rocket plane. It's supposed to be going fast. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to use it to go fast to get to where we need to go. But once we're there, let's ease up the throttle. We're going to hit the manual flaps. We're going to hit the air brakes. We're going to get this thing down to a reasonable speed because if you're familiar with the term, there's something that people call it speednized. At least that's what they told us in driver's ed. The idea that you're coming off of like driving on the highway, totally going no faster than 65, right? Nobody goes faster than 65 on the highway. Anyways, you get off the highway, you get off the exit ramp, and you get to a road that's like 30, 35 miles an hour on a side road, and you realize that you're doing like 45, 50, but you don't feel like you're doing 45, 50 because you become so accustomed to the higher speed. So we are traveling around in this thing averaging 400 plus miles an hour at tier 8. That's still pretty quick, especially at these altitudes, because this is the altitude that like my Heavy's starting to struggle to maintain its speed. So here I am, I'm slamming on the brakes in order to stay behind that Hornet. Now I had to speed up because there was another Heavy behind me, but here I'm going to slow down, take my time, try and get this thing down to a lower speed so that way I can sit behind this aircraft and do some damage. Now here's something else that I've never thought to do before. Well, I'll tell you in a second, but here, watch this. We're going to slow down, get behind this Kai 93. Yeah, we lit him on fire. That's always nice to have. But slowing down, we're going 200 miles an hour, and we were still catching up on the aircraft. So just to give you a conception of how fast everything else is going. Now, something I've never considered doing in the past, but I started doing more now, slamming on the brakes and sitting directly behind a B-32. What? V, are you serious? You're sitting behind a B-32? That thing's going to chew you up. Yeah, it's going to chew me up, but if I would have slowed down earlier, this is a kind of a bad example. If I sit directly behind a B-32 while he's traveling in a straight line, the number of times I've knocked out his tail gunner with this new tactic, I can sit there all day. I don't care what he does, because I'm directly behind him, and the dorsal gunners can't hit me because the vertical stabilizer's in the way. So it works good against bot bombers. Players tend to sway side to side in order to overcome that, but here we are slowing down again, or trying to. We're still getting close to overtaking, and we're probably going to have to do a re-attack on him. But you slam on those brakes, you get down to a reasonable speed, and you can actually engage these targets like you normally would with another Heavy. And that's where I think we've been lacking. Now, another thing you'll notice is I'm holding my shots until we get a lot closer. The red numbers underneath an aircraft when you get close enough for the guns to cause damage are outside of the optimal range still. You want to note what the optimal range for your guns are. And for these, it's actually 1,903 feet, I believe. So it'll tell you that I can hit out to nearly 2,400, like, oh, it's red. I'm holding my shots until I get really close. And when you hold your shots until you get really close, the enemy doesn't start maneuvering until they take damage. Now, I approached this IL-8, again, a little bit too hot, but if I would have taken the time to slow down properly, I would have minimized my time in his tail gunner, because right now I would have been getting guns on target. Instead, I'm taking a massive amount of damage, and I also am pulsing my shots too much. If I would have just held down the trigger, that guy would have been dead, and I'd still be alive. So a little bit of a mistake on my part here, but you can see where if I would have slowed down earlier and stayed behind him consistently, I would have been able to win that fight. So again, we have the speed. Yeah, I died, but that's fine. Watch this. We're going to go ahead and boost over there. We're going to hit the cooler. We can get up to speed. We can get to these targets, and we can start affecting the battle again. And that's the point. That's what we want to do in this airframe. We're using the speed to get to place. And when we get into an engagement we don't want to be in, hammer down the boost and get out of there. So let's envision another situation, right? We're coming up on a heavy aircraft. And that heavy aircraft, we slow down, we get behind him, we start shooting, maybe we don't get an effective series of shots, and he starts to turn hard on us because it's a player and he knows how to play. He makes a hard left or right hand turn, like he's going to circle around us. Well, yeah, he can win in a circle fight, so I'm just going to ignore that. Now that he's started to make his hard turn, I'm going to stay straight and I'm going to keep going. Now, if you picture this from the top down, he's making a turn. He's probably about halfway through the turn. He's faced away from the direction we're going. We're throttled up to 500 plus miles an hour, and we're gone. And he still has to finish the rest of that turn. He's never going to catch us, and any normal player, even a bot's going to go, yep, he's gone, and you're just going to ignore that situation and go do something else. Be like, all right, what was I doing again? Let me get back to what I was doing. And then that's when you come back and you do it again, and you rinse and repeat until you get your pattern right and you catch him with enough surprise that he doesn't have the ability to react anymore. And that's where your strength is going to be. And here we're using our speed to catch up to be able to lend aid to one of our friendly aircraft here. And now I see this Tempest coming in. I'm throttling up and I want to get guns on target, but I'm going to immediately start slowing down again because I want to maximize time on target. See those flaps extend, and boom, we take that aircraft out. Intercepting, assassinating, heavy, trapped inside of a light fighter body. Now, again, going too fast. I gotta learn my own lessons here. Should have slowed down way earlier so I could have settled in behind this aircraft, because here I am thinking, oh, he's getting away, boost. And now I'm going 340, closing on this bomber, but if I would have just stayed at about this distance, I would have been able to have some pretty consistent damage on him. Instead, I'm sitting here taking a lot of guns. I'm taking 650 cals to the face right now, and I get knocked out. So that's 2 times this battle we've gotten knocked out to tail gunners, unfortunately. But if we would have timed our approach better, we probably could have gotten that target. And when I realized it was getting into trouble, I should have boosted out of there instead of overcommitting. There are times to not overcommit on a bomber like that. Yeah, I see this LA-7 down here, and I'm like, someone's going to kill him. It's fine. Someone's going to get him. Anybody's going to get him. Alright, fine. I'm in range. So, take that kill. And now I'm going to work my way towards the middle because there's 2 ground attackers coming in. But we're getting to the end of the match. I see that the enemy player is flying in that 329 down there, but he has no idea I'm here because I'm coming in so quick that when he's probably checking the mini-map, there isn't any targets near him, and then bam, I'm on top of him, turn in, slow down, get those guns on target, approach from the side, and we could have knocked him out. Now, by learning these tactics, finishing kills instead of just getting damaged like I was in so many other battles, what we're really going to see is the results of this effort coming in the form of the payout on the end result screen, because this is a premium aircraft. We're using it to train up our crews for the Japanese fighter lines. We're using it to be able to earn credits so we can get those good modules on these airframes. We can get the cool paint job rentals. And here we are, and we netted a massive amount of credits. 257,000 credits. That has pretty much been what I've been seeing lately, and we only got 9 kills. Now you see the crits here. We actually knocked out the B-32's gunners. We knocked out 3 gunners. We only engaged that aircraft twice, and each time we took out at least 1 gunner. So what I was saying before about taking out that tail gunner, that one that's actually hitting you, if you're in direct trail of a B-32, you can totally knock out a lot of the enemy's threat by knocking out those gunners by hitting that part of the aircraft, and you will if you're on a stern chase. We managed to cause a pretty significant amount of damage, bearing in mind we're going after primarily heavies, ground attackers, bombers. They got a lot of hit points available. And you can see here, if you look in the bottom right, just above the image of the pilot, there it says my optimum range is 1,903 feet. So we definitely want to get a little bit closer. Also, I manipulated the modules. You'll see that I've gone for full maneuverability. Now there's still a spot for an engine mod, so we kept that on there. But we're getting max maneuverability out of the airframe. It still leaves us at a 13.6, even with the pilot skill for upping the maneuverability. But it's good enough to get those guns on target. And I think that was a perfect example of it. Now, when we get this thing specialized, we'll actually be able to put on a forward armament modification to increase the range, but maintain the accuracy. And that's something we're totally going to be doing in order to try and optimize this airframe a little bit better. But all the lessons that we've learned here will actually translate over to the 302 aircraft, because the 302 being the Russian premium aircraft, that is still an available option for those of you who don't have a J8M. Maybe you went with the cheaper, more affordable version of the Russian 302. And what we did with the 302 is a similar thing we did with the J8M. We went and maximized the maneuverability, and the maneuverability is actually a lot better. It's going to be more around the 12-second and some change turning time, and when you slow that aircraft down at Tier 7 and start engaging heavy fighters, you're going to see that you're going to have pretty good results with those 420mm cannons once you get them on target, because they overheat at relatively the same speed as these 30s, but their travel time is a lot more consistent. You can get those guns to hit, and you'll find that it does fairly well. Again, if you find yourself getting into trouble, go ahead and hit that cooler, hit this thing for full boost, and get out of the engagement. Now, this is a loss, but here's another battle I had in this airframe, and you'll see here that even with a loss, we got 18 kills, did 27 critical damage. We did even more damage to aerial targets, 7,500 at Tier 7. And we ended up netting 159,000 credits in this airframe, which is awesome. And we got a myriad of medals, which helped us out it would have helped us out for our tickets, but we already got these today. But I digress. Again, rocket planes, if you got a rocket plane, I think this is the way you should be playing it, because I find that they actually have a lot more maneuverability at lower speeds. And hopefully, if you guys take these lessons, you'll be able to learn from my mistakes and improve on it even more. So I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Always getting closer. I'm marching till it's over.